This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Fears of a clash between far-right and far-left groups in downtown Portland didn't materialize over the weekend. In fact, it looked like any other Sunday with people out and about. We talked to some folks who say Portland's bad reputation is overblown. Also, the Cornell Tunnel in Northwest Portland will close starting next week for months of needed repairs. Bryant Corkley will join us with a look at the repair timeline and what detours you'll have to get ready.
I really enjoyed it. It just makes me realize how much everybody truly supports me, and I just appreciate that so much.
Vancouver welcoming home a famous face. People lined the streets yesterday to celebrate and meet Olympic gymnast Jordan Chiles, just back from the games with that silver medal. That's so cool. Good Monday morning to you. We hope you had a great weekend. Did you guys love the weather this weekend?
Absolutely. Nice and
I was
cool.
lighting candles. We got the blankets out. It was feeling very fall-like.
Oh, come on.
Regular August.
It's the coolest morning out there right now since early June / late May, depending on where you're at. And I begin with these temperatures. If you had the windows open, you probably pop out of bed this morning and think, wow, it's cool. We have what do we have? We have a 42 in Hillsborough. We have a 40 in Sandy. This is crazy. We have a 51 degrees down in Corvallis, and that's actually one of the cooler temperatures. So now PDX is at 50, and get this, the record low this morning, can't believe I'm talking about this, is 48. So we're close. We'll be up to about 75. This is the day that all of us will get the sun. Of course, that hasn't been the case for several days.
All right, Rod, thank you so much. We'll check in with you soon. Fears of a large-scale violent clash between far-right and far-left groups thankfully didn't happen Sunday. Instead, they faced off on the east side of the city with some acts of violence and property damage. Kyla Boshi was out tracking all of it and says it was a typical day in the city for most people who live here.
In downtown Portland, fears of a violent political clash became a waiting game. Hundreds of black-clad anti-fascists stood around Tom McCall Waterfront Park to counter-protest against a planned far-right rally. Instead, a group of right-wing Proud Boys changed plans and gathered nearly 10 miles away at an abandoned Kmart parking lot at 122nd and Sandy. Local leaders feared the rival groups would turn violent after a similar clash exactly 1 year ago. In anticipation, some downtown businesses closed for the day, but others remained open and were busy with customers who were not distracted by the large crowds assembling blocks away.
I think a lot of the time it can come off as very performative.
Customers like Reese McAndrew explained rallies between opposing groups have little impact on most Portlanders.
If you go there with the purpose to rile up other people, then you're going to get riled up. But if you go there just to see or just to walk around or like we're doing just to have food downtown, then I don't think you're going to have a problem.
The city is not on fire. Portland is still here. It's still beautiful.
Throughout downtown Portland, many streets were busy with tourists and even locals like Rod Purdom and his wife, who were out for a Sunday walk.
The city has so many problems, but it's not the war zone that so many people make it out to be. And that's really disappointing when you hear people that and you're trying to talk to people that from out of town and explain this is not the way it really is, or people from the suburbs, and you're trying to explain that's not the way it is. Come downtown and see.
That was Kyla Boshi reporting. Now, while the relatively small clashes happened over in Northeast, there were shots fired in downtown Portland. It happened around 5:45 in the evening near Southwest 2nd and Yamhill. A 65-year-old from Gresham was arrested for the shooting. Bullets hit at least one local business, but no one reported getting injured. Police say they don't know if the accused gunman was inspired by or involved in yesterday's political clashes, but it is still early in the investigation. Officers say there are reports that witnesses may have taken evidence from the scene before police arrived. If anyone was a victim or has information about this crime, you're asked to call police. All right, let's get to 3 quick things to know about COVID this morning. Number 1, today, the Pfizer vaccine could become the first shot to get full FDA approval. Right now, all of the vaccines only have emergency use authorization. Full FDA approval could allow more businesses to make the vaccine mandatory. The Pfizer shots will also be able to stay on the market after the pandemic ends.
Number 2, Fred Meyer are going to be offering those COVID booster shots and additional doses at their store locations. So starting September 20th, the company says it will begin the vaccination service to long-term facilities, along with those eligible at the time. If you are eligible for a booster, they'll ask you to schedule on Kroger.com/COVID vaccine. And number 3, the U of O and Oregon State requiring people 12 and up show their vaccine card or a negative COVID test to go to any games and other activities on campus. School leaders say the test must be within 3 days of the event. The U of O also adding if you had COVID within 90 days, you can get in with a positive test, but you also have to have a doctor's note saying that you are clear of the virus. And those are 3 things to know about COVID right now.
Starting today, people living in Washington or visiting there will need to mask up again. Face coverings are required in all indoor public settings for everyone over the age of 5. That includes people who are unvaccinated and vaccinated. Some restaurant owners who recently reopened say they're frustrated they have to take a step backward, but the ones we talked to say they'll grudgingly comply.
Nobody wants to do it. Customers don't want to wear them. We working in restaurants, we don't want to wear them. It's uncomfortable for everybody. So, but it's something we have to do.
The Washington governor's office says it's working with state partners to reestablish an enforcement system.
Well, with the mask mandates being put back into place, at least one pharmacist is wondering what impact it'll have on vaccination efforts. This is Kirk's Pharmacy, and it serves rural parts of Pierce County, that's south of Seattle. In May, it led the efforts to get 12 to 15-year-olds vaccinated. Since then, shot rates have slowed from about 100 people a day down to 10. And the pharmacist thinks the mask mandate may generate more interest in the vaccine for some who thought the pandemic was over.
Hopefully it's like riding a bike, we all did it for so long and we got a little bit of taste of what it was like without masks, but going into the fall and colder weather and more indoor things, it just probably makes sense, and so we'll just roll with the punches, I guess.
Vaccination rates in Pierce County may have slowed, but they haven't stopped. Just last week, 10,000 people received 1 shot of the vaccine.
Okay, this is an important heads up this morning. We're looking ahead to a traffic alert that starts next week. The Cornell tunnels in Northwest Portland will close next Monday, August 30th. And they won't be reopening for months. PBOT is doing some big repairs. KTW's Bryant Clerkley can fill us in this morning. He is there live with all the details. Good morning, Bryant.
Good morning, Brenda. PBOT says that there was a last-minute change with the contractor, so they will be closing these tunnels next week, and the repairs won't be done until spring of 2022, and that will leave thousands of drivers finding new routes. Eastbound traffic needs to use Northwest Skyline Boulevard. Westbound needs to go through Northwest 23rd Avenue and West Burnside. The repairs will help prevent structural failure and extend the life of the tunnel. Dylan Rivera with PBOT wants drivers to be careful on the detours.
A lot of the roads where folks will be diverting in the West Hills are narrow and winding, have a lot of curves. So please take it slow and understand that those roads are not necessarily designed for the intensity of traffic.
And Northwest Cornell Road will still be open to pedestrians. They'll just have to use the paths around the tunnels. Back to you guys.
All right, sounds good, Bryant. People have 1 more week to figure their plans out. Okay, I had to turn the defrost on in my car a little bit this morning, Rod.
Yeah, to help clear the dew.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody has frost out there, we should mention. Nobody's in the 30s. But it is, as I mentioned a moment ago, the coolest morning across the valley since either late May or early June, depending on where you are. The other story, we're still watching bad air quality. There's an air quality warning out for not all, but most of Oregon, east of the Cascades. Only a few areas up in Washington are under an air quality alert or warning this morning. We have unhealthy air down in southern Deschutes County. Despite the air quality alert, though, right now, mostly good to moderate air quality across eastern Oregon, but it is expected to be hazy in many areas today east of the Cascades from wildfire smoke. Okay, good visibility coming into town. We're at 50 at the airport. Now, the record low is 48, so we're obviously right there. We haven't had a record low, I checked. We haven't had a record low temperature since April, and I was surprised we even had one then, but there was a freezing morning in April that set a record, something we rarely do in the summer months. 48 in Salem right now, 45 up in Kelso, 45 in Newport. Look at the 41 in Bend and 41 in Burns. And I posted these tips on my KGW Ride Hill Facebook page, and a gentleman reminded me that this is great news for firefighters. Yes, it is. The cooler air mass, absolutely. All right, Salem 77 today. This will be day 4 in a row with most of the Willamette Valley, if not all of it, seeing highs only in the 70s. We'll start to warm back up somewhat tomorrow. This shows Longview only 71. I am looking for some areas of morning cloud cover potentially this morning near and north of Portland. Otherwise, we will get the sun, something we did not have, at least in the North Valley and up through Clark County the last couple of days. 75 today, 83 tomorrow. There's the warm up. And then we stay comfortably near 80 through Friday, mid 80s this weekend. Second 7-day in a row week-wise with no 90-degree temperatures.
Yahoo! What is he, a gymnast or something? Let's get to the real gymnast. Silver medalist Jordan Childs is back in the Northwest, and boy, did she have quite the parade and welcome home yesterday. We're going to take you to the celebration coming up. Then there's still a lot of questions about the need for a COVID booster shot and the plans to dole one out by the top vaccine makers. Our Verify team looks at where Johnson & Johnson falls into the mix right after the break.